Paging Dr. Juan. Paging Dr. Juan.
Damn, son. Damn, son.
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. We ran into some technical difficulties. We made
China hacked us.
It was China.
It's actually Juan, but
Yeah.
we're gonna blame China.
Yeah, it was
'cause,
the Illumawani that
yeah,
did that to us.
These microphones were made in China and they broke.
Next time,
Yeah.
that's why you need to buy from America.
American made. So we're gonna pick up where we left off. We do apologize about the inconvenience. We are still, working out the kinks and getting this stuff doing, but that's what makes it great, right?
But you know the good thing about this show though is every single time you've watched an episode, it's gotten better and better.
just now.
But that's fine. That's fine because next time.
These are called growing pains, Billy.
Yeah,
These are called
and this is a
growing
good
pains.
one.
Yeah.
We have a table now.
So for
it's
those
good.
of you that are just tuning in, we were talking about the egg fire.
Oh, let's go back
at
to
the
that,
factory.
actually.
We can go back to it. We were talking about the fire at the egg factory here in Connecticut, talking about the skyrocketing prices of eggs all over the place. And people like me, I sometimes wear a hat made of tinfoil, and I ask the questions. But then things like this next slide come up, and it kind of solidifies my suspicion. So if we go to that next slide here, that's a nice one, but that's not the one. I need to. You got to double click.
There we go.
for-
Okay, I'm getting the hang of it.
Boom. Why don't you read that out loud for the people at home?
Dairy-derived. So now, mind you, this is from the National Library of Medicine. Dairy-derived and egg white proteins in enhancing immune system against COVID-19.
What?
So when I read most of this article, basically from what I found out is that the egg yolks inside of eggs, it makes it difficult for the spike proteins to bind or something like
So
that.
basically, eggs will actually boost your immunities and help
Right.
you in the prevention of getting COVID-19.
Because it's a superfood, isn't it?
Because it's a superfood. We talked
Right.
about this last week.
Right. That's how I only know that because of you.
Thank you.
I only know that because of you.
But what it's doing is it's actually making it harder for these spike proteins that they put into these mRNA vaccines to hold. So it's kind of making them a little nervous. And I don't know. Like, again, we can go as far to say, like, Dave, you're being a conspiracy theorist. But if anything I've learned over the last 3 years is that the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is 6 months. And if you hold the line, you're going to find out that, okay, so now we're seeing prices of eggs go up. It's like almost like they don't want you to have eggs. And now you're seeing, this isn't the first one in the last couple of months. You're seeing these egg farms go up in flames. And then this comes out. And there's another article that we didn't even post. The University of California is actually developing chickens that produce eggs that have this spike protein inside the egg already.
What?
Bro, I'm telling you, I read this article. It was from the University of California, and they're talking about the fact that they're developing eggs that inside the eggs, they already have this spike protein that apparently you're not able to hold on to from normal eggs. It's going to be in there. So if you're out there
Okay.
and you're thinking that they're not trying to put vaccines in your food, if they're not trying to get you prepared for something else,
Bro,
wake up.
they were already talking about the genetically modified mosquitoes.
No, bumblebees.
Well,
and
that's new,
mosquitoes.
but I remember when the Zika virus thing was happening,
Right.
they were trying to create the genetically
Yep.
modified mosquitoes to send out into Florida and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of madness is happening.
It's
right now.
happening. It's happening. It's just, when do people wake up? When do people actually start to say, maybe this is real? Maybe people aren't as crazy as we keep calling them. Maybe this is actually happening. And I think the time is now, because they're messing with your food, right? They're messing with your food, and we're looking the other way. And it's, I think, America specifically, we tend to look away on a lot of things about what they put in our food, right? Red dye number 40,
Right.
high fructose corn syrup, all these things that are addictive properties that are not good for you, that are full of carcinogens, that are full of this. And now, on top of it, they're going to be full of this stuff.
You know what? Who could we get on here that's maybe your nutritionist? We could probably have your nutritionist on here.
We could I'll make a phone call.
Yeah,
I'll make a phone call.
I think we should
Yeah.
get your nutritionist on here. Probably put some people on to some freedom,
Oh,
as
yeah.
well as some good
Some
eats.
nutrition.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely the perfect person
Absolutely.
for some nutrition.
So watch what you're looking out for. Prepare yourself. If you can go and stock up on some eggs and do whatever, the price is going to go up. And for a multitude of reasons. One, the fact that we're going to have a shortage, and the fact that they really don't want you to be, because it's making you healthy, right?
Speaking of healthy people, this healthy basketball player over here, man, your good friend Stephen
Why
Curry.
is he my good friend? I don't even like basketball.
That's why I'm saying it. That's why I'm saying
okay.
it. Yeah, Stephen and Aisha Curry oppose a multi-family development near their $30 million home.
Why would they do such a
Damn,
thing?
son.
Why would they do such a thing?
Well, because it's kind of like when Kamala Harris was coming out and saying, "Hey, we welcome everybody. We keep our country open. It's an open door." The second it
As
started
long as
dropping-
that door is not in their neighborhood.
exactly right.
And Steph Curry actually prefaced this by saying that, it has nothing to do with it being in my neighborhood, right? And his quote was
So then
that,
why?
No, here's the quote. His quote was that it's about the safety of his family and kids in the community.
So basically, poor people equal danger. Is what he's trying to
Right.
say.
So now, it's funny because I had a bunch of people send me this video the other day, and it was actually yesterday, and it made me mad because it's something that I literally have said for the last 2 years during my council campaigning. It's that New Jersey, especially, is for sale. Every time,
100%.
every time you turn around here in New Jersey, they are putting up a multi-unit apartment, mixed-use apartment complex, or they're building a warehouse. Drive up and down the turnpike, and it's a warehouse, it's an Amazon center, it's a fulfillment shipping facility, or it's multi-family or multi-purpose use apartment complexes. Now, also for context, Steph Curry to go and protest this wasn't like what we're seeing here in my town of East Brunswick.
Right.
Right.
Or in most parts of New
where
Jersey.
we're talking about building 1,200 units in the next year and a half. This was 16 apartments. 16. He was like, "You're going to move 16 poor people in here? Not in my head.
Dangerous.
Get out of here."
Dangerous.
You know what I mean? And that's the insanity is you know what? They made a big deal about this, but there's families all, and I was thinking about this. You grew up in Patterson.
I still live in Patterson.
You still live in
I
Patterson.
mean, we are in
But
Patterson.
no, we are in Patterson right now. But what I'm saying is, it's not like over the last 5 years Patterson became a city. Patterson has always been a city.
Right.
Look, I'm originally from Queens. I lived in a city. That was a city. It had the trains and the transport and the traffic and the apartments and all that. Where I'm from in East Brunswick, and where a lot of people live in the suburbs are slow, not even slowly anymore. The suburbs are becoming inner cities.
That's
The
what they want.
suburbs it's exactly what they want. And the video that I was watching made the exact same point that I did. And these older generation, these boomers, these people that are like our parents' ages, the 50-plus community, they're not going to want to live in this kind of area. They're going to leave. And then all you're going to be left with is Amazon fulfillment centers and empty apartment buildings that will end up being repurposed as low-income housing.
Well, you know who told us that this was going to happen, right? Klaus Schwab.
Yeah.
You will rent.
Damn, son.
Yeah, you see?
Klaus.
You will rent everything. You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
You will be happy. But
No, we won't, Klaus.
this is happening all over the place. So that article was from 2 days ago. Steph Curry actually said, I don't want to do this. And they actually decided that, Steph Curry, no one cares what you really have to say. Just shoot three-pointers and shut the hell
Don't
up.
have a lot of money.
And they actually approved this building. So Steph Curry, you have some new neighbors on the way. They're going to be building this 16-unit apartment complex. But this is something that we have been saying. I've been saying it for well over 2 years. Everywhere I go, I'm telling you, I'd be pointing it out. I'll just be driving. I'm like, look, there's that Vermilla building. I hate that. They're going up everywhere. They're selling it out. And the
Taking our
question is
land.
why? When do we stop? When do we stop? You
Right
know?
now, in all honesty, man, it's look, someone wrote something on social media a while back that kind of made me thinking, and it wasn't directed at me,
Right.
but someone was like, we can't just be online talking about all the things we see on social media and on the media and do absolutely nothing about it. For example, to be fair, it's kind of what we're doing. We're talking about the madness and the stupid stuff we see on television,
Right.
but there also needs to be action. So the people that are sitting home and are watching, don't just sit down and watch this. If you hear some of this madness that's going on or there's some craziness going on in your community, you can't just sit there and shake a fist and be like, dang it, I agree with those guys.
Yeah, but and it goes a step farther. When Steph Curry says it, people are like, "You're right," and you know what? But it's the same thing. These rich people, these well-off people, they They'll build and build and build as long as it's not in their neighborhood. This was the same fight that I had with the mayor of my town and the town council, is they were building all these apartments on the other side of town. They weren't building it in their neighborhood. They weren't building it on the lake by their house. You know, they call it the West East Brunswick, the other side of the train tracks, right? It's like we live on the one side of 8 Mile with Eminem in the trailer park. And, you know, they build it because you know why? They don't have to deal with the traffic. They're not dealing with the crime. They're not dealing with all the BS that goes on. And it's very easy.
You know something that's funny about you saying that, bro, is like, now that you mentioned like on the other side of the tracks, I'm noticing that there's a lot of municipalities across the state of New Jersey that are like that. Or if the city's cut in half, for example, Teaneck is kind of like that.
Right,
Rutherford is like that. You're telling me East Brunswick. So I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, there's always that one side of town where like we'll keep this one clean, but on the other side of the tracks, anything goes.
But that's what I'm saying is like
another area.
Look, the Old Bridge, like I could go. The list goes on and on, right? Like it's becoming a part where they are literally. They're selling it because, again, land is the only thing they're not making more of on the continental United States, right? It's what we have. I mean, they're making islands and stuff. That's
Trump almost bought Greenland. We could have had more.
That would have been great. They wouldn't give him a golf course.
We would have had a lot of natural gas.
Wouldn't give us the golf course. But anyway, they're buying this land up, and they have zero plan. These elected officials are clowns. All they want to do is continue to make money, have developer friends dish out these high-end buildings that no one's buying. Right? There was the biggest argument, and they were telling me, they were like, "This is what the young generation wants. This is what millennial." I'm like, first of all, I'm part of the young generation. I'm telling you right now,
I want a house.
I'm not paying $2,500 a month to rent an apartment that overlooks the New Jersey Turnpike, the South River landfill, and I'm going to be on 18 next to a Popeye's chicken across from a Dunkin' Donuts. Like, why would I do that? You know what I want?
Comes
I want
with marble countertops.
For 25, I don't care.
It's got marble.
But for $2,500, that's a mortgage. Like, and that's another thing people don't.
2 mortgages for
you
the
have
most
to
part.
shift your thinking here, right? You know, $10,000 down or $20,000 down on a $300,000 house, you'll have a $2,500. Not with these interest rates, but
well, yeah.
But that's what they're creating, high interest rates. Oh, you know what? You know how you solve not having to pay a high interest rate? Rent property. Good for you. We just built this brand new apartment complex, and there's appliables in the lobby.
See, but
like,
it's funny that you mention that. Like, see, I hate when this happens, when it's like there's a lot of stuff happening. We only have so much time. We only have a little bit of articles. I wanted to. There's a story that just came to my mind right now that we should have put up. Wells Fargo is actually starting to purchase a lot of single family homes now that they're renting back to people.
Yep.
Right. Even the house that I grew up in. Right. Wells Fargo ended up purchasing that home, and they didn't even sell it to the new people that live there. They're renting that home out to these people. So I'm wondering, if you go and try and buy one of these houses, will the bank even sell it to you? Will they even allow it to be sold? Will they just keep it off the market and perpetually rent it?
Because it's the same thing. The value is not going to depreciate. It's only going to increase in time, and you're going to make your money back. So we own the property. We're going to make money off the property. Plus, we're going to get interest on the property. And then, if and when we decide to ever get rid of it, we'll sell it to a developer that will demolish these 10 houses, build an apartment complex, and we'll take the money because the thing is Wells Fargo will still probably own the land. You know,
correct.
They're still going to make money. So it's a win-win for all the people except us. You know, I could go on about this forever, but the urbanization, like, do I feel bad for Steph Curry and his $30 million mansion?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. They just built 17 developments in Passaic County, probably more than that.
Ridiculous.
Passaic County
everywhere you go. It's called the takeover, the New Jersey takeover, this apartment takeover. Moving on to our neighbors here in the north. Canada.
Good old Canada. So Canada's one of the top 3 places.
I don't like Canada.
That
you know why?
Hang on, because
I want to tell you why.
We share. I want to hear why.
I'm going to tell you.
I got an uncle. So I got an uncle, right? My name
Canadian.
Well, he's Canadian now. My uncle Niall. When my parents were coming to the United States, right? My uncle, my father's brother, he was like, "Oh, I can get into Canada much faster." My father's like, "Nah, go through the process with America. It's gonna take harder, but like it's better to go through America." Okay. Nah, I'll go. Goes to Canada, hates his life, bro.
Yeah.
And I love the guy. Haven't seen him since I was like 4.
Canada's like the Wish version of America.
Yeah, it's also one of the 3 places I never intend to visit.
No,
I have no desire.
Like,
I love my uncle.
I'm going to Niagara Falls, but on the New York side.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love my uncle, but I don't ever want to go to Canada. I don't see. There's lots of places in the world I'd rather go to.
Especially with the way it's being run right now. You know,
that's one of the
Justin
reasons why.
Trudeau, and I'm a firm believer. He's a communist, and
he's 100% a communist. 100% a communist.
But Canada, you know, they just suck. But French people.
The French.
There's so many French people
French
in Canada.
Oh,
I told you, Juan, we keeping it going. We have a feud.
See, you brought
with
up the French.
because as soon as I think of Canada, you think of all the French people.
Watch, wait till we start getting hundreds of views. They're gonna be like, these people are anti-French. They're gonna be protesting outside the studio.
But anyway,
The Pew's
to
gonna be looking
continue
for you.
to continue on the list of terrible decisions that Canada's made, like trade deals with America, the fact that they think Canadian bacon is a great substitute for real bacon.
Justin Trudeau wearing
Justin
blackface.
Trudeau wearing blackface.
Hate that. People forget about that.
Don't forget.
People forget about that.
British Columbia has now decided to become the first province in Canada, the great country of Canada, to decriminalize heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, and other hard drugs. So residents with less than 2.5 grams of the hard drug will not be charged or arrested. Now, this is obviously in an attempt to decrease the overdose rates, for the government to regulate what's going
That
in.
ain't decreasing
Damn,
jack.
son.
And I was having this conversation. Earlier today, and there's the expression that some of the worst things in history have happened with the best intentions.
Yeah.
Right? I understand the intention behind this. I understand why you might want to do this, thinking that it would be beneficial or that it's going to help people or, it's going to keep people out of jail. But, you're not doing anybody any favors by making drugs that are wiping people out more accessible.
Exactly. Like the thing that
that's
blows
just
my
it.
mind, the thing that blows my mind the most is that out of all the things that are on that list, fentanyl should not be legalized,
Fentanyl.
right?
We literally just had
a whole entire
a whole
dialogue
segment
about it last episode.
talking about the fact that Seattle has no room to put dead bodies.
And now Canada's decriminalized that. Think
That's
about
only
that.
2.5 grams. For your information, it's less than 1 milligram of fentanyl to cause an overdose.
It'll wipe you out. It'll wipe you out.
Wipe you out. So who needs 2 grams? 2.5 grams of fentanyl.
You
is
can
enough
kill
to
everybody on your block, bro.
Kill the whole block, and then the developers will come in and build apartments.
Like, let's knock the
this
whole
is
thing
the
down.
plan. Oh my god!
Damn.
I just figured it out.
I certainly hope that's not the plan, but I'm pretty sure that's probably what I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know,
But
man.
another reason to not go to Canada. No
It's
desire to
just
ever go to
another
that
reason
place.
to go to Canada. Stupid idea. It'll backfire, and I guarantee you, within a year, they will be backtreading this decision. Period.
Get the next story up. Oh. I'm gonna let.
Wait,
I'm gonna-
there's a video attached to this?
after this. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yo, man.
All right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
this is a
'Cause
great
You're
story.
probably wondering why we titled the name of this episode. Do you like oranges?
Do you like oranges? That'll be explained to you shortly.
Yeah,
but
I
we're gonna have to wait just a little bit
I
longer.
love oranges.
So, as some of you are aware, Texas, Arizona, a lot of these border states that have been seeing an influx of migrants coming across, are being constantly told by blue states like California, New Jersey, New York, it's not that bad. Why are you guys tripping? So the governors of these states decided that, when they come across and they get on these buses and planes and we're transporting them we're going to transport them to your backyard. We've talked about this. So Abbott has been sending busloads of migrants from Mexico to New York City. Now, first, Eric, we talked about Eric Adams. He was like,
Everything is totally
ain't
fine.
that bad. Then it was like, stop sending migrants.
You need to slow
then it was
down.
like, we've got a crisis.
The door is busting off the
So,
hinges.
and then it was cool because they New York, in New York fashion was like, we're going to put these migrants up in this Watson hotel. They're going to love it. It's going to be great.
Ritzy-ditzy.
Ritzy-ditzy. But would you know it that they now don't want to leave the hotel?
No, they're
And
sleeping on the street now.
why
They're
the
like,
hell?
"What do you mean?"
Why the hell would they? Most of these people are coming from sharing a bedroom with an entire family, or sleeping on the floor, not having a bed, not having central air, electricity, television, you name it. They're here now in the United States, and you put them up in one of the nicest hotels in
Right.
the city, and now they don't want to leave.
There's a chandelier in the lobby, and you want me to
Dude,
get
there's
out?
Probably a chandelier in the shower. Let's be fair.
Right? Probably.
So
Probably.
now this is backfired. They've been protesting all week, standing outside like, yo, we ain't leaving. And you really wanted to believe that people that entered a country illegally are going to not do something more illegal, like squat inside of a hotel? You think they were going to really leave? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Listen,
So,
man.
so,
This guy's-
so Eric Adams is now fumbling the bag, bro. This guy is a joke. I love him. You know what? You're bad when you make Phil Murphy. Phil Murphy been real quiet because he's like, bro, if I just shut
I just
up,
gotta coast it out, bro.
if I just let
I'm gonna
Eric
him dunk
Adams
right now.
talk, bro,
Let
people
him drop the ball.
Yeah, they suck. So Eric Adams is now at a Brooklyn ferry terminal trying to convince the migrants that staying at this terminal is a better idea than staying at this hotel.
I just thought of something funny that I just noticed right now, right? He's supposed to be talking to migrants, right?
Yeah.
He's talking to the camera in English. Now, mind you, you would think that there'd be Spanish subtitles.
They do have a translator, but
But
yeah.
even if that's the case, bro, why do you have English subtitles if you're talking to the migrants? We know what you're saying.
So there's a lot of things that are wrong with this, but we're gonna play you this video clip and watch Mayor Eric Adams
It doesn't matter
struggle.
if it's Ellis Island or the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal or it's any of our ports. It is all rooted in an American dream. You pursue
You want to look at the
dream
camera.
here. And when you meet someone like Wilson, you walk through.
Wilson.
I just had to come here when I started hearing all the rumors about it was too cold. My brother got on shorts.
My brother got on
Inside.
shorts.
It's warm
Shorts.
inside.
Winter.
About the food not being there.
Hold on, ready? Here we
go.
You know, healthy
You like
food,
orange?
eating present.
Do you like
Snacks are
oranges?
healthy. We just
snacks
need
are
to
healthy.
Stop the anxiety. When I spoke to the men,
Come on, we can play
who
ping
are
pong.
here, they
Bro.
shared the same energy. We want to come in.
All right,
on
cut
them.
it.
Don't-
So let's just talk about how my man did this entire press conference with an orange in his
Hey,
pocket.
man.
And he trying to be
You
cool.
ever
He
had
like-
one of these before?
He like, I know you staying in a hotel player with your shorts on, but we got oranges. Like
Oranges.
we were talking about this, like, bro, these are people that literally harvested oranges in Mexico, and now they're giving it back to them.
But
like,
you
is
never
that a
got
trade?
one
Is that a fair
from
trade?
New York.
Is that a
directly
fair
from the mayor?
bro? That orange is from Mexico.
But it was not a Mexican orange given to you from the mayor of New York.
No, he kept that orange. He definitely kept that orange.
But I have plenty inside. That's why you got to come to the station.
But here's the funniest thing, and we cut it, but the video continues, and there's a guy that you saw, right? I forget his name. Not really important. But he speaks later on, and there is a translator, and he's like, I am from Venezuela, and he goes, we should be grateful to be in America, like, thank God. But he's literally wearing a hat that says Mexico. Right? Like, that would be like me wearing a hat that says Canada. It just don't make sense.
Listen,
just like the mayor of New York carrying an orange around in his pocket.
I'll be completely honest, man. That guy had a pretty fresh shape up, fresh cut. I think that guy just came from Brooklyn that just speaks Spanish.
You
Just
mean-
pretend you're a migrant. I don't think that guy was really a migrant in my opinion.
Not at all.
I
He's
could be
not
wrong.
even Venezuelan. He was Puerto Rican.
Bro, that guy did not look Puerto Rican either. The guy definitely looked like Dominican or something, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
But it just goes to show you like when pandering backfires and now you're stuck to deal with it. Like, look at how pathetic you are. Like, instead of offering a real solution, you now want to get people out of the hotel and like, hey man, we'll put you in this abandoned ferry terminal and give you fruits
we
and
got
vegetables.
oranges. We got ping pong.
Bro,
table.
have you
You don't even need a blanket. We got heat. He got
I know
shorts.
you want to see the Empire State Building, but have you ever had an orange and played ping pong on the water?
Never.
The Hudson.
Never.
You can't even swim in it.
Luxury.
This is ridiculous.
Not as ridiculous
Eric
as this
Adams,
orange.
we already gave you Sheep of the Week, but you deserve that again.
That should have been sheep of the week.
Bro, because just think about it. Like, I want to know, like, how long. I really want to know how long was this orange in his pocket.
It was in his pocket for about 10 minutes.
Bro, but that orange wasn't even from there. He's like, I ain't eating this dirty terminal orange. He took that from the Watson Hotel.
Like, listen, remember these on the table? We have those inside here too.
So moving on from poor, terrible leadership to what we have all learned to call America's governor, we got
Incredible
our boy Papa D. Santis down in Florida. What's he talking about now, Billy?
DeSantis wants the death penalty. Yes.
Deaf, like DEF,
No, as in like. I could have come up with a joke.
like muerto.
Like muerto. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. DeSantis wants a death penalty for child sex crimes and life sentences for candy like fentanyl.
Damn,
I think
son,
that
where's
should.
the boom?
Right. I think that should also.
Damn, son.
There we go. I think that should also get the death penalty, honestly. Like, we were talking about the fentanyl and the death penalty, but for child sex crimes, bro, sign me up to be the executioner, bro.
Damn, son.
I don't care how crazy that sounds, bro. Child sex, I don't like
You know,
people.
I'm under. And look, people might think this is crazy, but I'm under the very firm belief that a dead sex offender doesn't reoffend.
I think it's a good thing.
So,
And if that offends you, then,
you
you're
know
part
what's
of the problem.
funny is I had to go through. This is from the Miami Herald, right? This is down in Florida, but when you typed it in, right? Because I was looking for the link, and I'm like, Ron DeSantis seeking death penalty. It's all these like these liberal left leaning outlets. They're like Ron DeSantis looking to make killing people easier. Like
What?
You know what I mean? But here's the thing, and all it says in this article is that he is explaining a problem that they're having down there, which is fentanyl dealing,
Yeah.
and which is sex trafficking that's happening
Yeah.
in Florida. And all he's establishing is, think about it, guys. Nobody ever needs to die in Florida. Don't rape kids. Don't sell fentanyl.
bro. And it's
Like, I think that's a pretty good deterrent. Like, do you like your life? Because if you don't,
100%.
like, this is all you need to do, and like, we'll kill you for free. Like, pretty simple. Like, he's not looking to kill anyone. He's making it like that's a pretty strong deterrent. Like,
bro, it's like if you go to Cambodia and you try and do that, you're done.
bro, go anywhere else in the country and try to do that. Like, they literally, there's other countries that if you steal an orange from Mayor Eric Adams, they will cut
they'll
your
cut
hand
you off.
off.
Saudi
They'll
Arabia,
cut
they're
your
cutting it
hand
off right now.
But here we are. We're over here calling these people minor attracted people, giving them slaps on the wrist.
No.
Not even putting them in a database because they're not safe and they can go back out on the street and reoffend.
No.
I fully support. I think this should be a nationwide thing. You might call that an extreme belief, but
It's not extreme at all, bro.
But I think it's a deterrent, right? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of having soft-ass rules and judges and all this other stuff that they're not going to actually live up and fix the problem?
My question is for anybody that's against this, and I have seen a couple of people like, well, yeah, it's still the death penalty. Like, murder is murder still. And I'm like, listen, man, this is someone who destroyed an innocent child's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're advocating for that guy. If somebody did that to your kid, you'd want that person to live on our tax dollar forever?
Right. You know what?
You want
Again,
that?
look, that goes back, and I know it's a totally different topic, but listen, everyone's got an opinion on shit until it affects their life.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, let the border be open. Not in my neighborhood. Build the apartments. Whoa, that's too close.
Over there.
Why are we harassing sex offenders? They touched my kid. Like, everything, everyone has a problem. No, everyone has no problem until it or directly affects their lives. Right? Think about it. Most people were oblivious to half the shit that was going on with COVID until you screwed around with kids in school. And you started masking kids, requiring this, requiring that. And that's when the parents stormed the Board of Ed meetings, and then everyone was paying attention to what was going on. But they didn't care. They closed your business. Nobody said nothing. So, again, this is the problem with America, right? If that opens your eyes, and what Ron DeSantis just said is what's finally opening your eyes to, like, paying attention to this, then so be it. Then maybe you'll think twice before you do something that's going to hurt somebody.
And that was Dave's rant.
No, I got plenty more. We got a topic, but I'm just saying, like, I feel very strongly about that because you know what? That's something that's very overlooked, especially for females. There's a lot of sexual abuse that's out there, and you know what? Their people are out there walking around. You know what? And you know what? It would that stuff have happened if people had known, like, yo, if we know you did that, bro, you're done. You're done. You know? And these drug dealers that are making money off people that are dying, like, would you continue to sell that drug if you knew you would get the death penalty for it? You know, you got to ask the real logical question. I don't care. You didn't care about how you were going to affect that person's life. You didn't care about you were going to take that person's life. Why should the same considerations be given to you? Is that wrong?
No, it makes perfect sense.
Well, we realized that we needed to change the name of our next segment because, you know, while a lot of these things we've been getting were random, we realized that, you know what, maybe it's not as attractive to sponsorships and people that want to go there. So our new Random Thing of the Week segment has now been changed.
If you don't know, now you know. In the great words of the great
Damn, son.
Biggie Smalls. We need a soundbite next week for that.
If you don't know, yeah, you're right. If you don't know, now you know. This week's sponsor, same sponsor we had last week, is Ice H2O out
High
in Carlstadt,
quality.
New Jersey. Lou Ravenati, he hooked us up with this. Dave made the critical mistake of taking 2 sips of the H2O fuel.
Is it noticeable?
Yeah, because you're really wired up right now, like super wired up. Guys, don't sleep on this. If you guys are looking for an alternative to energy drinks, you don't want to drink the Monster stuff because I think that stuff is terrible anyway.
Terrible for you.
And you want to start drinking something that's good for you, alkaline water with caffeine
This
inside
stuff
of
is
it.
great. And electrolytes.
It's got electrolytes.
It's really good.
And if you can't handle the energy, they've also got the alkaline
And they are still
straight up.
still running that special. You can go see them out in Carlstadt. Again, a case of this on Amazon goes for about $26. You can go see him and get a case for only $6.
Yeah.
$6. Bro, you get a bottle of Fiji water at 7-Eleven for $6. And that's trash.
Damn, son.
It's not, and it's not even alkaline, and it's not even local.
It's not even from Fiji.
It's not even from Carlstadt.
It's from New York City tap water
It's
from
from
Eric Adams.
It's from Ice H2O, Carlstadt, New Jersey. You can go pick up your case, $3.99 Hackensack Street, Carlstadt, New Jersey, $6 a case. Tell them that your boy Billy Prampus sent you.
Because if you don't know, now you know.
All right.
Moving on. Moving right along. How we doing? We're doing all right. We're doing all
Right,
right.
even with
Yo, you know
technical-
you got the clicker, right?
I know the clicker's actually being a pain in the neck right now. I feel
Somebody
like throwing it against
change the slide. Oh, God.
the wall. I feel like throwing this clicker against the wall.
This is ridiculous.
There we go. Oh yes.
Oh, no.
Oh
This one
yes.
hurts. This
No,
one
it doesn't
hurts.
hurt.
I'm
No,
sad.
no, it doesn't.
I'm so sad.
First things first. Let me go on. I'm going to go into a little rant here real quick. So
Your turn.
Yeah, I'm
You
going to
want
go
a sip
into
of my water?
no. I think I'm a little bit wired up enough.
Let's go.
I couldn't stand this woman from the very beginning. I was like, when she first came on, I'm like, hey, look, okay, first Muslim woman, whatever, right? Cool, big deal. Didn't really care about that. Look, woman, another person on Congress, right? But when I started to hear the rhetoric and all the negative things she said about the United States, the terrible things she said about our country and how we're involved in all these wars, yet she has the comfort of living a luxurious life here in the United States, where she not only was able to become an elected and still currently sitting congresswoman, where she actually has the ability to make decisions about what happens in this country, still talks very negatively about this. You swear your support for Hamas and all these other terrorist organizations that are not friendly to the United States, and you are on the Foreign Affairs Committee. What makes you think that we're going to want to keep you on there? I believe she was only put on there for political reasons. I don't think she knows anything at all about what's really going on outside. I don't think she's actually even seen most of her enemies face to face. Actually, maybe she has out in Somalia, and she's completely forgotten about how terrible things are back home. But then you'll come into the United States and make things seem as if it's worse than it really is. So she was recently removed from her seat in the Foreign Affairs Committee, and to a degree, now let me play devil's advocate here for a second, though. I am not going against someone's personal beliefs or opinions or thoughts, right?
Okay.
So if she doesn't like some of the things going on in the United States, fine. The issue that I have is the support that you're throwing it behind. You're an elected official supposed to represent the United States of America. When I start seeing you throw all of your support for other organizations and other groups, many of which are not very friendly to the United States, I can't look at you as a viable leader. So for that reason, that's why I want her to be removed, and thankfully she has been removed.
She has been removed, but the kicker is now, buddies of hers like AOC are on the Congress floor. This has nothing to do with anything like you said, right? The fact that, you could be compromised. The intelligence you might be receiving may not be safe.
Exactly.
You haven't really shown any true value at this position, but now apparently this is all just a Republican attack on women of color in America.
Dude, not only that, we're even forgetting something, bro. She committed marriage fraud, bro. Married her brother to get into this country.
She created voter fraud too, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's a whole other rabbit hole. She didn't create it, but she's definitely a part of it.
Well, in Minneapolis she did.
Well, yeah. Minneapolis ain't very much Minneapolis these days.
No,
anymore.
Oh man. Well, now we're moving on to.
This is a tough story, right?
This is a tough story. We kind of moved this back into the show because we knew we were gonna be on this topic for a while.
Let me kind of start it up.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Family mourns a slain Sayreville GOP councilwoman. I woke up this morning and I got an email from the NJGOP state chairman, Bob Hugin, where he was sending out his condolences for the councilwoman. I said, wait a minute. What the heck's going on? I thought, because I saw something like that on social media, but then I saw Bob Hugin's email and I found out that this councilwoman was actually from the state of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Now, from what we've gathered in the story, she was sitting in her vehicle.
Yep.
Someone came up to her, unloaded, and shot her multiple times, and it appears that she was the intended target. The frustration that I've got with this is
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I'll let you think. I'm not going to go fully, but I just wanted to, obviously give my condolences. I did actually meet her at a couple GOP functions. Sayreville is literally a town over from me. It's about 10 minutes away. And 30 years old.
A young woman.
30-year-old woman who just won her race in 2021, a race that they believed that she was not going to win. It was actually an upset victory.
This is why you got to have faith. Even when you think you can't win, you can't get
an
it.
Upset victory. And she was targeted. Now, obviously, they're going to sit here and tell you they don't know anything. They're still investigating. They're trying to get to this. But all of that, honestly, to me, is irrelevant. The relevant part of this story is that somebody lost their life today, and I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you that I don't think it had anything to do with anything other than the fact than her political affiliation.
I think so too.
Because what other reason for a woman that did charity work? What other woman for reason for a woman, a 30-year-old woman trying to serve her community? Nobody had anything bad to say about her that knew her. Where would this come from? And I was. It's like really making me upset, like really thinking about this. Because this hits close to home, man. This is literally 10 minutes away from me. And this is somebody who did everything and this is also like a race that I ran. I ran for council.
Right.
In a blue town, just like she did. And look, I know you ran for Congress. Everybody knows you ran for Congress, and you kind of expect a little bit more heat when you're running at that higher level.
Like a federal position.
And state levels. But when you're doing this local stuff, a lot of people think like, you know what, it's just laid back. I'm running a local election. I'm here to fix my town, and I want to fix the roads and do this stuff.
Simple stuff. But
this can happen. And again, we don't know the motives. Like, I'm not here to speculate or create anything like that, but what other reason to have somebody this wasn't like she got hit by a stray bullet. Like, this was an attack.
Right.
Whoever shot her knew who she was.
And
this
knew
was a hit. This was a hit.
It was a hit. I think it was a hit.
You were shot multiple times. This wasn't an accident. You were in front of your house. It wasn't even like she got shot out at like a Starbucks in a parking lot. Like, this was in front of her house. Somebody knew who this person was. And, this is where I'm going to go on my rant here for a second. This is what bothers me is, I ran a race. We talked about this earlier. And, the first year I ran, they came at me with everything they could, right? You all right?
No, I'm good.
You need some caffeine water?
No,
okay.
no, I'm good.
They came at me with everything they had in their bank. They called me racist. They called me homophobic. They called me anti-vaxxer, anti-mask, anti-science. I hated this. I hated that. I was a drug addict. I couldn't be trusted. I was this. And you know what? Because they didn't want me to run, because I had a voice and I had a message and I wasn't afraid to talk about it. And you know what? Most people, right, and we talked about this, most people would take that kind of fire and they would say, I'm never going to do this again. I'm done. I ran. I don't want to deal with this. I'm over it. And I got back in the same way you did. You ran your race, and the next year you came back, and people were like, this guy's still back? 100%. And they came at you again because, like I said, we're not your average Bears. And that stuff doesn't bother me. And then they did it again this year. I had the mayor, Brad Cohen, walking around East Brunswick campaigning on behalf of the council, telling people
and
that
he got help from the state too, didn't he?
Yes, that you couldn't vote for me because I was a former heroin addict, and you couldn't have a heroin addict elected. I had Board of Ed member Jeff Winston, whose wife was running for office, telling people that I was a domestic terrorist, insurrectionist, anti-Semite who hated black. Like, I must be the most garbage human being ever. Right. Telling people this. And I went and I asked them to kindly chill out. I said it a little not as nice as that,
right?
But chill out, because I'm walking up to people's doors. I'm talking to people on the street. I'm actually trying to do this. And you know what? There are loony bins out there. Real life crazy people that take words like Brad's and Jeff's, even though I think you guys are a bunch of cucks. They listen to people like you, and you put people at risk. Nobody knows, again, what might have happened with this woman, how far that it might have come. But you're putting people in a position to feel very, very unsafe and putting people's lives at risk. And I hope that that's not the case here, but that's what it leads me to believe, that in a small town like this, to have a targeted assassination.
It's like it could be easily swept under the rug. It could easily be swept under the rug. Let's do a moment of silence.
Sure.
Rest in peace, Councilwoman. I'm sorry for what happened.
My
condolences go out to the family.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts? Do you think that this is going to, moving forward, maybe deter people from wanting to run?
Yeah, I think it's actually interesting that you bring that up, because there's going to be some Republicans. There's a lot, and in fact, let's even backtrack even a little bit further. I actually got a phone call from one of my homies I was stationed in the Air Force with, right? He's out in Missouri. He found out about this story as well. So when he called me, he was like, yo, you're the first person I thought of. And he was like, because, bro, the thing that's crazy, he's another black dude, another black conservative. He's like, the thing that's concerning to me, bro, is like the amount of negative attacks that happen on not just conservatives, but specifically black conservatives. People will go out of their way to try and treat you like you're a piece of crap, or you're not even human, or you're garbage. Mm-hmm. Someone like this, think of another black conservative just sitting around like, you know what, I want to run for office someday, right?
Right.
You see something like this happening right now, you're like, how do I? And forget about just even being black, it's even conservative, right? Period. And like if you want to go even further down the hole, it's like, do I really want to do that? You know, some of these people, mothers, fathers,
Yeah.
business owners, it's like, usually people would think that the worst that could happen is someone writes some crazy nonsense in the newspaper about you.
Yeah.
But when it can get to a point like this, and everyone didn't believe you were going to make it, but you did do it because you had hard work and determination, and something like this happens,
Yeah.
it really leaves a lot to the imagination of what could have went down. And I really hope that the family does get closure. And I'm going to be following this story. I really hope that we get some more
I
answers.
think we both are. I mean, look, and you know me better than a lot of people that are watching. And, you know, I told you throughout my campaign, I had death threats. I had people drawing pictures of me with, you know, SWAT stickers on my head. I had people showing up to my house, leaving reviews on my business, like my paycheck. Like, you're messing with my life.
Right,
and all I
right.
wanted to do was stop affordable housing in New Jersey and overdevelopment and fix roads.
Right.
And I was a homegrown domestic terrorist heroin addict that hated everybody. And, you know, and I still wanted to fight for the people. But I can tell you from firsthand experience, like, the level of stress and anxiety that running for public office puts on you,
It's nuts.
it's crazy. And this stuff like this, is it a scare tactic? I think it works because, again, like, if I never had put my hat in the ring, if I wasn't in this arena now and the mindset that I'm in, I don't think I'd ever do it.
Yeah. Now it just makes you want to run even more, though.
You got to wear. Because I'm not going to wear a bulletproof vest now when you campaign. Like, I mean, like, where are we headed with this?
Listen, at the end of the day, still, it's like, let's say that this was a political hit. And This was an attempt to try and quell anybody from getting involved or someone undermine their plans or whatever. That makes me want to run even more. And the reason why is because if you don't run or no one has the courage to stand up against that kind,
They win.
Exactly. And the more you fall back, the more power they get, the more control they have, the more further downhill we go.
And I get that, and I agree with your sentiment. It's just a question that becomes, and like, I'm not saying that, like, you know, the DNC sent anybody. Like, I'm just saying
It could be like a local.
there's loonies out there that
Right.
buy the hateful rhetoric that is spewed on both sides of the aisle about
Correct.
political opponents.
Yeah.
And like, I even said, I'm like, what if you won, Billy, right? You're walking around Patterson now, and people have been saying all this crazy stuff about you. Like, you're walking around. Like, you're out here just
They already
being
shot
you.
my house up before, so.
But look, what am I saying here? Like, what kind of life is that to try to help people? This is how you get repaid. Like, you know, like, you have to worry about that. I mean, what was it, a couple years ago, the guy shot one of the Republican congressmen at the baseball game. Almost killed the guy, right? Who got shot? One of the senators or
It was
congressmen?
a senator.
Right, senator got
Yeah, I
shot
remember
playing baseball.
And there was the guy who came in and attacked Rand Paul as well, too, bro.
Right.
Busted
Same-
one of his ribs.
Yeah, you know. So it's hard. It's a sad thing to think about. And I pray that this isn't what it is. But let's just go let's take that a step further. Like, what if that is the case? What if they turn out like this person was one of these like whack jobs that thinks that, you know, people like just conservatives want to just ruin everything.
Right.
And we're not. Like, most of these people never had conversations with you, with me. They don't know anything about you other than, you
He's
know,
conservative.
And we talked about this. Like, I get there's racial divide, right? There's black versus white. You know, there's gay and straight. There's this and there's that. But there is a real war going on, and it's not between black and white. It's between red and blue.
Right.
And that's
Right.
scary, man, because that encompasses everyone, right? Because you're black, I'm white, but we're both red.
Right.
And that makes us both targets. Nobody cares that you're from Patterson. Nobody cares that I'm from the suburbs. We're both just conservatives, and for that reason alone, we should be feared.
Right.
And that's what makes me sad for all of this. I'm not wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
And it sucks, man. And it takes the wind out of my sails to think that this is the world we're living in. I don't know.
Moving on to
Let's talk about something joke-worthy. Oh, look.
the clown in chief, Joe Biden, to end the COVID national emergencies in May.
May. Why May? Why not today?
You know what's funny about that is when you were saying when you were saying that the difference between the conspiracy theorists and the truth is holding out 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
This unfortunately took 3 years. But there's a lot of people who had their businesses destroyed. Some people are getting all kinds of weird health side effects. A lot of terrible things have happened to people because of this pandemic.
Yep.
Right? And even when all this stuff is starting to unravel, now suddenly they decide to open it up about a month from now, as if it's going to change anything. They act as if there's a certain timeline when this virus could come out and it can attack you. You got to get home before 10 o'clock or else it's going to get you. You got to sit one booth away from the next booth or it's going to get you. We got to wait until May or we're all going to die.
Yep.
When in reality, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are not adhering to this crap anyway.
I know
to begin
people
with.
like me and you for the last 2 years have been like, bro, I'm
I'm not
doing
wearing
what
that mask.
I'm doing this.
I'm not doing that.
It's ridiculous.
Dude.
And we're still here. I know
it.
against what most people would have wanted, but we're still here.
Thank God we're still here.
But you know what? This goes to exactly, to quote one of my favorite childhood movies, The Wizard of Oz, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, right? Everyone's talking about Pfizer now. Everyone's talking about these COVID numbers. Everyone's talking about eggs. Everyone's talking about this. And now, what are we going to do? We're just going to just open it up, and you will forget that the last 3 years ever happened. Are we going to let them forget?
I'm definitely not gonna let them forget, bro. And from the very beginning, you know what? We can say at the very end to our kids that, like, yo, we never back down. From the very beginning of this COVID pandemic, we've been talking about the truth. We've been trying to wake people up to this nonsense.
And you know what? Some people won't let it forget. East Brunswick, I'm giving you guys the sauce today because y'all on my nerves, bro. You're doing construction on Route 18,
son.
so many apartments. Like, your government sucks. People are still emailing me. People still emailing me. Like, they're CCing me in emails they send to the mayor, like, Mayor, you suck. You promised me all this shit, and you ain't doing nothing.
You should bring some on air.
Bro, I'll do it. But they actually made a statue in my town. This is a true story. You can come see it. It's called 6 Feet Apart, and it's two mosaic. It's two. Listen, it's two. I sent it to you, right?
Yeah, I saw the article when it came out on NJ.com.
It's 2 mosaic statues for those of you that don't live in East Brunswick. It's 2 mosaic statues, 6
So
feet apart,
dumb.
with a mosaic tile mask on their
So
face.
dumb.
Like, why would you ever want to remember the fact that you got played
Oh God!
and that they made you do something that literally had no health benefits?
I'm gonna make a prediction. That statue's gonna get vandalized.
When I become mayor of East Brunswick, my first order of business is to pull
Get rid of
those
that
out of the ground
I don't want to be reminded of this terrible
with the back of
situation.
my F-150. You can come.
You'll be
in the back waving a flag on the truck.
I was just about to say that. I'm going to be waving
Deal?
the flag.
2024, your statue's gone. It's coming.
Great. Now they know. We're not going to do it. We're not.
No. We're going to keep it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we're not going to touch it.
Let's remember it
We're
forever.
not going to touch it. But in all honesty, if anything does happen to that statue, it had nothing to do with
That
this.
had nothing to do with
Right,
me. I
but
told
I'm-
you I'd have to be elected as mayor, and then it's gone.
Right,
I'll do it legally.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Legally. Speaking of legal, there's some people
No,
that do things
illegal.
No. That's why I said speaking of legal. Yeah, you messed up the punchline.
My bad. Forget the last 10 seconds.
Speaking of legal, we have someone who is the king of illegal. Hunter Biden helped secure funds for the U.S. biolab contractor in Ukraine,
Wait.
according to the emails.
What does that mean?
So this is something that many people knew. If you actually read some of the files that were released from the Hunter Biden laptop, they found emails that linked him to being on the board with a biolab in Ukraine, and he helped secure some of the funds to get a lot of the, I believe they were doing a gain of function research there. Was that the case?
Gain-of-function
Was that what
research.
was being
Yes,
done
it
there?
was. Mhm.
So Hunter Biden helped secure the funds to do that, and inside the emails, there's a lot more other nefarious things that Joe Biden has been talking about. But remember, for a long time, they told us that Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation. It's totally not true.
It's not real.
Nothing real. They try to
away.
discredit the guy that owned the shop, right? But it turns out the laptop is actually very, very real. It's very much real, right?
Very real.
So real that now Hunter Biden is seeking a federal probe of Donald Trump and his allies over the laptop. Because
So imagine, I'm going to jump in there. Imagine needing the FBI's help to go and pursue something that wasn't real.
I thought it was fake.
It was when the 2020 election was happening and the midterm elections in 2022 are happening, but now apparently it's so real that the big guy needs to help him jump in with the federal government to help him.
You see, here's the part, the thing that really drives me up the wall, bro. And we talked about this last week, and I kind of feel like it's gonna end up becoming a recurrent thing. They talked about Trump. Oh, Trump had classified documents. There were empty folders, nothing in there. This guy, 6 different times, batches of documents. Oh, when he was vice president. Yeah, but Trump did it. That's what CNN talks about. This guy commits literal crimes. He's got videos of himself inhaling crazy substances in his nose, doing all kinds of stuff
Crack
of that
cocaine.
sorts. Young underage women and really crazy things. Terrible, terrible conversations and dialogues on his email about some of his other nefarious dealings, giving the 10% to the big guy, a.k.a. Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yet nothing is said about that. They're even willing to advertise, hey, this guy's looking for a federal probe against his laptop. Like the laptop is public now. Like you can look this up. You can go online and check it out. They verified this stuff is legit.
Yep.
Okay? But they need a probe now.
You want to know what's funny is, again, if you think back to this first article that we were just talking about, number one thing that people might not know is that this biolab was actually on the border of Ukraine and Russia. right?
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know where it's located, but
Right on the border of Russia. So here we are. Now we have a biolab that's producing gain-of-function research funded by Joe Biden and his son, and you got all this mishmash, and now here we are. Everything's going to come back to this Ukrainian war, but now here we go, where we have Ukraine fighting Russia with American-funded weapons that we've paid
and we
top
just
dollar
sent them
for.
Abrams tanks, bro.
Abrams tanks, and Russia is fighting American guns with all the shit we left in Afghanistan. They're sending it.
That's crazy.
America literally funded its own war. World War III has been single-handedly funded by America through the ineptitude of Joe Biden's pullout of Afghanistan to the ineptitude of Congress just sending all this money to Ukraine. Again, hearts and prayers go out to the people of Ukraine, but your government is corrupt. I'm not saying Russia's any better, but there's a lot of stuff that why is it all coming back to Ukraine? And Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, and no one wants to ask the question.
Bro, you know it's crazy. Like, I don't know about you, man, but I've never seen in my lifetime a foreign leader address the House of Representatives. I've never
Congress.
seen that in my life. This guy got up. He got up and was like, "We thank you very much for your money that you're sending to us in the Ukraine."
Why does he sound French?
Because that's how he talks. You never heard him speak. He talks like he sounds like you would think
Vladimir's
he sounds.
Russian?
No, I'm talking about Zelensky.
He's Russian.
No, he's not. He's
French?
He's not right.
If he's French, bro, this is it.
Oh man, no. But
Could you imagine?
oh
Yo,
man,
Zelensky,
the French are gonna hate us.
French, the French, we're already banned in Paris.
Ban these people.
We don't like these assholes with their thick crepes. They're called pancakes.
That's not how you do the creep. But Zelensky got in front of the House of Representatives and thanked us. Thank you for the money that you sent over to us.
Still sells French.
We need more money. Listen to him. Listen to him talk. He doesn't even look like he would sound like that with a raspy
He's an
voice, but he
actor.
does.
He's an actor.
So then maybe I don't know. But Zelensky, screw you. Ukraine, we love you guys. Your government, terrible.
Your government sucks.
Terrible.
So Hunter Biden. Oh, by the way, the FBI actually just probed. They're actually they were raiding Joe Biden's Delaware house as of yesterday. They were
Wait, what?
searching. The FBI was going through his stuff.
You see, that's the annoying thing about this show is like so many things happen so quickly in such a short period of time that by the time we're about to talk about it, something crazy happened.
But you know what? That's also, again, it plays into the bigger picture of our world. Is they bombard you from all angles. It's called sensory overload. They're sensory overloading you. So it's so hard for you to pay attention. Like, do I pay attention to Hunter Biden or do I pay attention to the fact his dad had the documents? Am I talking about Ukraine? Am I talking about COVID? They burned all the eggs. They've got this. They got that. They're legalizing drugs. Like, it's so overstimulating that sometimes the easiest thing to do is to not think.
Speaking of not think,
Meh.
it's time for Sheep of the Week.
And we got to go. And I'm gonna let you. That's a lot of sheep.
Believe me, you're going to need a lot of sheep for this one.
That was just in Middlesex County alone.
This one is a doozy.
I'm gonna let you take this one because I've got very strong feelings about this topic. So go ahead.
Did you get a comment?
Of course I'm gonna comment,
Okay, I thought you were like, I'm going to hold down. Just let Billy say
but
it.
I'm gonna let you take it.
So,
I got a text message from the other room said, "Let Billy speak more." So I'm trying. I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying. It's not my fault.
Dang.
It's the water.
see, look, that's what he said.
It's the water, bro.
Ice H2O. All right, get it. 339 Hackensack Street, Carlstadt, $6 a case.
Interrupting people all the time.
It's that,
Damn,
it's that
son.
fuel, that Ice H2O fuel right there.
So what do we have? Sheep of the week.
So Sheep of the Week we have, it's Mina Maria Antikainen. Mina Maria Antikainen from Finland. The first transgender figure skater, the first inclusive figure skater.
Now, before they show this video, I just want to give you context. Before we show this video, she is first trans figure skater.
First.
She qualified for the Olympics over biological women that competed. Right? Go ahead. I just want you to know that.
Now,
She did make it.
Now I want you guys to look at this the magnificence of a peak performer in Finland. Phenomenal. The best Finland has to offer. You have to work really hard to get into the Olympics, okay? You have to work. Hey, don't laugh at this woman's, because it's a woman now. It's not a man anymore. It's a woman now. You gotta love this technique. And if you don't love this technique, you, sir, are a bigot. Let's roll the tape.
ajatuksen lähteä toteuttamaan lapsuuden
Look at this. Look
haaveita
at the magnificent.
It looks
Look
nice.
at the grace.
luistella
Watching him come in like Scott Hall, like, hey, yo.
ja sieltä on niin kuin 9 vuotta aikaa,
Look at
eli siihen 9
So
vuoteen
much
sisältyy
grace.
aika paljon. Eli kun lähdetään ihan nollasta, niin ihan jo sitä, että pysyy pystyssä.
Looks like my old biology
yhdellä
teacher.
jalalla ja sen jälkeen rupeaa niinku
He wore wigs?
tehdä jotakin siellä jäällä.
Oh, look at that. Hey, meant to do that.
Swag.
Ja esiintymään näytöksissä ja
Maria
niin
meant to do
edelleen.
that.
Sanotaan, että aika
Totally normal. Look at that. Look at that balance, bro. This person's going to bring gold for Finland, bro, in the Olympics. Gonna bring gold. So inclusive.
Eteenpäin mennään ja
Look at that, man. Holding that flag with
An
pride.
actual female figure skater helped her out.
Right. Look, you saw how much grace the actual female figure skater had?
And this goes on, and then it goes to her sitting in the back getting the scores, and she got like phenomenal scores and qualified.
I didn't. I only saw up to this
Oh,
part.
no. There's the rest of the clip. She's sitting in the back with her coach, like they do. You know, they sit there like
Yeah.
waiting for the score, like, oh, what's gonna happen? And she qualifies after this.
Bro,
Listen, I grew up playing ice hockey, and I ain't gonna claim to be an amazing skater, but I've seen 5-year-old pee-wee hockey skaters skate better than that.
bro. Oh, man. I didn't know that this was the event that they qualified. I thought it was probably like maybe something else. And this was one of them.
They're
being-
going to send her to the This was it. This was like a regional qualifier, but she's moved on, beating out biological figure
women,
skaters.
man. Women, man. Listen. You really need to stand up and do something, man. To the people out in Nevada, for example, man, the most beautiful person in Nevada is a man, baby. Right?
That's scary.
We got MMA fighters cracking skulls against
Yeah.
other women, right? That they could never do to other men. We got transgender swimmers smoking all the women, but you have to accept this. If not, you're inclusive.
And let's
You're not inclusive,
Let's
I
not
mean.
jump over the fact that the MMA fighter, the swimmer, the figure skater, you know, the list goes on and on. We're all irrelevant when they competed as men.
Yeah.
They were irrelevant. The MMA fighter was garbage. The swimmer was a 12th place swimmer. This figure skater, bro, I'm telling you, like
This is the first time that
looks
someone's
like,
worse.
That looks like when you go on a date with somebody you're not sure if you really like, so you take them figure skating because like if it goes bad, like they'll fall. Like
You could pick them up.
like yeah, you trying to like
Be romantic,
you know,
like-
save
like
them.
bowling or
Like
something?
come on, hold on to me, I got you. Like that's what that looked like. That did not look like any sort of
That
like.
dude was on one knee having a crisis, like, please get me off here.
I guess the wiener has shifted his weight. Like you
Oh,
can't keep
no.
up. But no.
Son. Damn, son, what is that?
Oh my god. But no, I feel very strongly about this as an athlete, right? I may not look like one now, but I grew up playing basketball, baseball, hockey. You know, I was very competitive. My mother was a competitive swimmer, so like you bring up Leah Thomas, whatever, around my mom, you will send her
She's
into
gonna lose
another
it.
planet talking about that. and you know what? Here's the biggest one. Why aren't we seeing? And again, this isn't to hate
Your
on.
mom's not inclusive.
No, I get it. But this isn't to hate on. Look, if this is the road you want to go, you were born this way, like you feel like you need to change. Not my circus, not my problems. You want to go do that, fine. But here's what I'm noticing. Why aren't biological women who transition to men trying out for men's sports? Have you seen that?
Because we're all a bunch of bigots that are not inclusive.
No. I'm just saying, like,
no, but I'm telling you why.
think about it.
That's why.
These top athletes in these sports are biological men turned women, and they compete and they dominate. But why aren't we seeing, you know, little Susie Jones, you know, take some tren, you know, grow a beard and try out for linebacker in the NFL?
You know why? And this is the guy.
Why aren't we seeing, you know, somebody fighting Conor McGregor? Why aren't we seeing these biological? Because the truth is, and I hate to say this, and it's not an attack on women. I love our women athletes, but we're built different, right? I talked to you about this earlier on the phone. I was like, I wrestled. I wasn't a great wrestler, but I'm pretty sure if you put me against a girl in wrestling, like I'd put hands on her.
I'll tell you this. I kind. Wrestling is one of the few, maybe in high school. I don't know so much about like adults, because I will say this: I was a wrestler when I was in high school, and I did wrestle a girl once, and she was extremely fucking good. I still pinned her and won 100%.
Right.
But she was a heck of a lot better than I thought she was, bro. So like, I can kind of get
but
that.
these contact sports,
Right,
like
right,
football,
like, yeah, you can't be doing
hockey,
that. No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I get it. You want to do that. You want to feel inclusive. Like, but why aren't we? If they feel so strongly about this, then why aren't we creating like these leagues that they can go and compete, like, you know, these non-gender specific leagues. And you know who the biggest accomplice of this is? And I was having a conversation on the way here, is the NCAA. The NCAA has not only been screwing athletes over forever, right? I mean, if you ever played any video game, you play Madden, they've got their names because they pay them. These college athletes.
I never knew that.
Yeah, Madden.
Well, I don't play Madden.
Well, no, I'm just saying, well, if you play Madden, you know, say Tom Brady, it'll say whoever, because they're paying the naming rights to that player. In NCAA, in the basketball and the football or whatever, it's just the number of the jersey. And they don't put the name, because if they don't, then they don't have to pay them for the naming rights. They recruit these kids to school. They throw them money and give them cars, and they bring them in and they exploit them. There was a girl who went to Congress. The video got completely covered up. She went there crying, talking about Leah Thomas to Congress, about how she had to share a locker room with a biological man who was getting naked in front of her and all these other girls. And for the record, Leah Thomas still has all the male anatomy.
Ew.
All the male anatomy. Just naked in a woman's locker room, and this goes to show, like, you know, we all want to talk about equality and treating people right, but then we turn around and we slap women in the face with things like this. Like, there was a woman who they gave in the breaststroke 100-meter tied with Leah Thomas for first place. They gave it to Leah Thomas because of the inclusivity of it. Because you know why?
We got it at the first tranny win.
Because it's a headline. Because it's about headlines. It's not about actually who's winning. And this is what, like, we got to understand. So, Sheep of the Week to anybody that sat there and applauded that horrible display of athleticism or lack thereof. Like, what's the excuse, man? Like, when do we draw a line, Billy? I've drawn mine. When does everybody else?
See, man. A lot of the things that's too controversial. I can't say that comment on here. Nah. Maybe on the next episode. But I think that's everything we got for today. There was your Sheep of the Week. There was a Sheep of the Week.
This was kind of an intense show today. There's a lot of home hitting home topics today.
Yeah.
You know, and it's only getting worse. And, like, again, the reason why, you know, we did this, because there are the people that are watching this feel the way we do. There's no outlet for this, because we are surrounded by lunacy. We're surrounded by this idiocracy of what's going on. You ever seen that movie, Idiocracy?
Of course.
That's what we're living in.
It's got electrolytes.
The end of days. And you know, we talk about this stuff. It might sound controversial, but, like, we're just trying to get to, like, the common sense root of a lot of these problems here. So I'm sure next week, I mean, look, it's every 5 days we get 10 stories worth of content. So I can only imagine that next week is only going to be any worse. I know we had technical difficulties, but make sure before you guys leave, you follow us at Revive America on Instagram, Revive USA on Facebook.
Right at the bottom of the screen.
Right at the bottom of the screen over there. And barring any technical difficulties from Juan, we will be here next Thursday live at 8 p.m. bringing you the news that...
Mi scusi.
It's French. That's why.
Oh, my God.
I said the wrong thing.
We're going off air, ladies and gentlemen.
I ain't going to Applebee's with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week. If you guys are on Rumble, follow us on Rumble. Revive America. It's right at the very bottom. We need 25 subscribers so we can start live streaming on Rumble and ditch this communist hole known as YouTube.
They're French.
No, it's not owned by French people, is it?
It is
YouTube?
in my mind.
This guy, man.
Love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Take care. See you next Thursday.